Writers, today I'm talking about crafting powerful endings. As a writer, it's important that you understand that your ending is just as important as your beginning. Many master writers revise or change their endings several times before they decide on which one is the best. I have a chart to share with you later, but right now I'm going to show some mentor texts, which are simply texts we can learn from, and how those authors chose to end their stories. The first one I want to share with you is a story with which you're familiar, Owl Moon. Jane titled her story Owl Moon, and throughout the story, you know that her daughter and her husband went on a walk looking for an owl. Listen to how Jane ended Owl Moon. Turn this around so you can see it. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. So, what did Jane do? She ended her story just like she began it, with the title or the words Owl Moon. She brought her story full circle. It started and ended the same way. Another author that we have studied, I know you've heard this book before by Angela Johnson, The Leaving Morning. Angela Johnson started her story in a similar way. The kids, as you recall, were a little bit sad about leaving their apartment. They wanted to stay. They had family and friends there, and they actually left lip prints on the pane. At the end of the story, it echoes the beginning because you can see there are lip prints left again. So Angela Johnson echoed the beginning to remind us that the kids were sad about leaving. Sometimes authors end their story by solving a problem. Many of you know Charlie Anderson, the cat who had two homes, and neither family knew he was sharing these homes. At the end of this story, the author decided to solve the problem by helping everyone realize that, yes, Charlie was going between two homes. And the author wrote, just like as Elizabeth and Sarah, Charlie has two houses, two beds, two families who love him. He's a lucky cat. So an author can solve the problem at the end of the story because we didn't know until the end that Charlie was going between two houses. Authors can also make you think at the end of the story. This book is a delight. Hey, Little Ant. Talk about zooming in, right? This author chose to end the story this way. Has a big shoe. I wanted you to see the shoe. And then the author wrote these words. Should the ant get squished? Should the ant go free? It's up to the kid, not up to me. We'll leave the kid with the raised up shoe. What do you think that kid should do? The author asked a question at the end of this narrative. That's an idea. The author gave you something to think about. I read this book to my class. I'm sure many of you have heard it. It's called Each Kindness. And in this story, the author chose to leave you thinking about something. The author brought out the meaning of the story on the last page. For those of you that haven't read it, it's about a little girl who learns a lesson about being kind. And the author brought out the meaning at the end when the little girl realized that she had been very unkind and her opportunity to be kind had gone away. It says, I watched the water ripple as the sun sets through the maples, and the chance of a kindness with Maya became more and more forever gone. tough lesson to learn. So an author can bring out the meaning of the story at the end. How you choose to end your story is your personal decision. Look at the chart on the next slide, and maybe one of the strategies that I just shared with you from these master writers makes sense in your story. I will tell you that ending in the moment is also a great way to end your story. One way not to end your story is by telling us all that you went to bed. That's something that a lot of first graders do. They end every story, and then I went to bed. We don't do that in second grade because we know new strategies and new ideas for crafting powerful endings. Today, if you want to go back and look at one of your favorite stories that you've written so far and think about a new ending, today might be a wonderful day to revise and make your ending powerful.